I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world.
Hi everyone, this is Angela Jones, your chic brown chick, and welcome back to another Chick Chat. And today I am doing my nails, and I'm going to do a dip today on my natural nails. I'm also going to put on some nail tips, and I might put on a silk wrap, but maybe not. We'll see how far I get along. But also on Chick Chat, I want to talk about a historical figure that I like. I actually love architecture, and one of the greatest American architects and designer is Frank Lloyd Wright. And I don't want to talk about so much his work, because his work speaks for itself. You know, he founded the concept of organic architecture. But I want to talk about his love life. But before I start, let me just show you the products I'm using. I'm not recommending any of these products. This is just what I use. I don't get paid for it. So I'm just going to quickly show you. I am ordering it off Amazon, and my whole purpose for ordering all of this is quarantine. I don't want to get caught up again. So I'm using just a dip powder kit. I ordered off Amazon, pretty inexpensive. It won't break the bank. It's actually cheaper to get the dipping powder kit than it is to go to the salon. So, and what comes in it is you get about 8 different colors. This palette for me, you can choose the different palettes. I pretty much like neutral colors with my makeup, even with my nail color. I like to keep it neutral. So you get the different color, 8 different dipping powders in a neutral tone. I believe you can choose if you like berries. These are neutral. You get the primer, the glue, the activator, and the cover, the gloss. You get a orange or a cuticle stick, and you get the little brush to brush the color off on your nails. Also, I ordered a nail tip kit, which basically just the tips that go on it. You have to order the glue separately. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about Frank Lloyd Wright. Now, if you don't know Frank Lloyd Wright is a very prominent, very famous architecture. He was born June 8th, 1867 in Richland Center, Wisconsin. His father was William Carey Wright. His father was very prolific. One thing, let's back to nails. Make sure you get off all previous nail color. I'm actually going to have to soak off this color here, but I like to file it down first, of course, just like they do in the salon. File it down first before you put the soaking on. I use the isotope, just like them. A little cotton ball. Oh, not there. Oh, just great. Just great. A little cotton ball and some foil. So these are things you probably want to have handy. Foil, cotton ball, isotope. So I'm going to file it down a little bit. But yeah, let's back to Frank Lloyd Wright. His father, William Carey Wright, who was originally from Massachusetts, was a Baptist minister, a teacher, and a composer. He was a published composer, as a matter of fact. So he came from a family of, his father was talented. His mother was Anna Lloyd Jones. She herself was a utilitarian, and very much so in utilitarian church. Her brother, which I forgot his name, is actually credited for spreading the utilitarian religion throughout the Midwest. So it is said that Frank's mother, when she carried her first child, said this child is going to build beautiful buildings. She had this feeling about her child when she was carrying him, and when he was born, she designed or decorated his nursery to have pictures of English cathedrals. So she really believed her son would be a famous designer one day, architect one day, and he was a famous architect. His career is, you would think his career would be the highlight of it all. It wasn't. It was his love life. I'm telling you, this man's love life was a hot mess. Anyway, his parents divorced in 1885, and his father left the family. And Frank Lloyd Wright said he never saw his father again after he left. This issue of family abandonment is a theme in Frank Lloyd's life. He soon goes to college. He goes to the University of Wisconsin-Madison and gets married to a woman by the name of Catherine. I'm not going to say her full name because it's unfortunate what happened with Catherine. However, in 1903, her husband, in the middle of a fabulous career, takes a job in Oak Park, Illinois, designing a home for one Edwin and Mamah, Mamah Cheney, in Oak Park, Illinois. It is said that Frank became enamored with Cheney's wife, Mamah. Now, in 1903, she was considered a very modern woman. She was a feminist, and she had a lot of interests outside of the home, which is a little bit different than Frank's wife, who was, a traditional wife at this time. So he felt Mamah was more his intellectual equal. And that's a powerful thing, believe it or not, especially for a man of Frank's stature. A woman that could stimulate him intellectually was pretty much her getting undressed in front of him. I mean, I just have to say that. But their relationship became very scandalous in the town of Oak Park because she's a married woman and he's a married man. That's scandalous in 2020. But it was extremely scandalous in 1903. And this went on to 1910 when Frank left for Europe and he took his son with him, and Mamah left her husband and went to Europe. Yeah, honey. So during this time, she left her husband, went to Florence, Italy to meet up with her lover, Frank Lloyd Wright, and his son in Florence, Italy. During that time, her husband Edwin granted her a divorce. It was official. It's over, girl. Bye. And but the thing is, Kitty, Frank's wife, would not grant him a divorce. She was holding on. She felt like, hey, this is just a thing, and so she wouldn't grant Frank a divorce. In 1911, Frank built a home. Well, he asked his mother in Wisconsin to buy some land for him so that he could build a home for him and his woman, I guess soon to be bride, whatever you want to call it. And he proceeded to build a very beautiful home, and he named it Talisman. Talisman. And it was said to be a very beautiful home. I'm going to put a picture of it. On August 15th, 1914, Frank went to work in Chicago, and at the home was Mamah, her 2 children, and about 4 other people that were workers there, staff there, draftsmen, engineers, designers, still working on the home. His servant, Julian Carlton, who's a black man, he was the butler, set fire to the living quarters of the house. When people in the home tried to escape, Julian attacked them with an axe. Julian murdered Mamah, her 2 children, and 4 of the people that worked there. So he killed 3 children in all, and 4 adults. Then Julian proceeded to drink hydrochloric acid, and which burned his esophagus. Julian went on to, being that his throat was burned, he was never ever able to tell anyone, nor did he ever try to explain why he burnt the house down and killed everyone in it. He ended up dying of starvation. Julian Carlton died of starvation 7 weeks later. I've heard other stories about Julian, that Julian had a wife as well that he also murdered. But at this time, at the time of this, I wasn't able to get more information about his wife. But that's very horrific what happened But this did not deter Mr. Wright. In 1922, Kitty did finally grant Frank a divorce. At this time, Frank was seeing another woman, of course, named Maud. And Frank, being the picker that he is, Frank ended up marrying Maud 1 year after his divorce from Kitty. And that marriage itself didn't even last a year because Kitty, unfortunately, was nursing a addiction to morphine. And so, and about 1 year after Frank married Maud, he left her because she was an addict. She was a drug addict. So as we can see now, Frank didn't have very much luck and love here. Let's go on, because Frank, never to be a lonely man, went on to well, he did eventually marry her. This would be his third wife. He was still married to his second wife. That divorce hadn't come through yet. But he met another woman by the name of Olga. And she was a ballerina. And I'm not gonna butcher up the names real bad because that's not the gist of it. That's not what's important. What's important here is after the murder of the woman that he was seeing, the married one, well, she wasn't married, but she got a divorce. But after Mama was murdered viciously in his home and it was burnt down, he rebuilt it a second time. Met another woman named Olga who was married with a daughter, and then moved her to Talisman 2. Because Talisman 1, remember, burnt down because Julian burnt that down with Mama. And she soon gets pregnant. Well, Mr. Wright's luck still doesn't hold out because Talisman 2 burns down. Olga's husband comes from the former Soviet Union, Ukraine, which is Ukraine, comes from and sues for custody of his daughter. He seemed to love women with children. Sues for custody, and Olga gives birth to Frank's daughter. And I'm not gonna bring her name into this mess. But yeah, Talisman 2 burns down as well. And the official cause of that burning is, get this, they installed a telephone in Talisman 2 and the wires got crossed and burned. The communication wires got crossed and burned. Okay, so finally his divorce comes through from Maud in 1927, the drug addict wife, and he marries Olga. So Olga is his last and final wife, and it didn't work out with that either. So all I'm saying is the story of Frank Lloyd Wright is it's talent, and it's full of story of talent and just tragedy. I mean, tragedy. The woman lost her life. Her children were murdered. It's just horrible. And just the idea that he created such beautiful structures and then had such a chaotic and weird love life. You might be wondering what I'm doing. I filed it down a little bit, and then I took the cotton ball, dipped it in some acetone, and now I put it on top of the nail. I'm going to soak off the original dip, the first dip. I'm going to let that sit for a few minutes. I'm soaking it off, and I just kind of pour the foil over the cotton ball that's sitting on the nail. And now I'm just going to continue to buff down, and I'm going to get the gloss and any additional or old residue off because I'm going to nail another tip. I'm going to glue another tip on here. Yeah, Frank Lloyd Wright. But he was such a genius, such a design genius. And with genius, sometimes comes madness, as we see. And it's wild. It's wild. But, condolences to the family. The families, they're all dead. This happened in 1915. So, yeah, everybody who's involved, including Mr. Wright, is long since passed away. So, we don't have any chances of offending anyone, but still, you know, airs and everything. But you know, history is far more intriguing, far more fascinating than fiction. Let me tell you, who would have ever guessed it? Anyway, this is the Chic Chick, and I'll be back once with another video to show me applying once I get the nails applied and this off, because I'm gonna have to use a drill. It's gonna make a little noise. But I'll be back in my next video. I'll have someone else to tell you about. Stay chic, stay funny, stay extra, and just stay alive.